Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel, where I'm going to be going through a bunch of the Marvel releases this week in a non-spoiler, quick way. And we're going to get right into this, and we're going to start with The Legend of Shang-Chi that was written by Alyssa Wong with art by Andy Tong. And everything's coming up Shang-Chi lately. We have a movie coming out, but we also just ended the Jean Luen Yang mini-series last week. So when you jump into this Legend of Shang-Chi, if you had read the Jean Luen series, it's going to give you a little bit of background info to get into this. And I am not somebody who read a lot of Shang-Chi, and reading that Jean Luen Yang deal ended up making me be able to jump right into this, get going. And it is a one-shot tale, very quick, very simple, in a good way, though. If you do like martial arts comics, if you do like, say, guest stars like Lady Deathstrike, you'll actually enjoy this, I think. I was hoping maybe it was more of a continuation of what we got from Jean Luen Yang's story, but it was not. But what it is Lady Deathstrike and Shang-Chi fighting over the Equinox blade that'll steal your soul. And it's a nice little one-shot. It's got great art, ends with an open cliffhanger that they can pick up later. Now, if you end up reading this and liking it and haven't read the Jean Luen Yang series that just ended, I suggest trying that out as well. The first 2 issues are in Marvel Unlimited app right now if you wanted to check it out. But I actually like this as one of those comics you can just read, have a little fun with it, and then ending. I don't think this is something that I'll ever go back and read again or think about after I was done. But I enjoyed myself while I was reading it. Next up is King in Black GWENOM versus Carnage #2, written by Seanan McGuire and art by Flaviano and Ig Guerrera. I didn't like the art in this, but it does give readers who don't know much about the Earth-65 Ghost Spider and Mary Jane Gwen and Mary Jane from that Earth, gives them a little bit more of a background. You do see flashbacks too, as things go down, as Gwen becomes Ghost Spider, as they have their band, all of that stuff, which I think is needed to set up the stakes in the context of what's going on now with Mary Jane here in the 616 and becoming Carnage. So it sets up that background between them, and you end up wondering, and Gwen does as well, wondering if Mary Jane is pissed off at Gwen and hates her, or if it's just the Carnage symbiote talking. It's like, are you happy to see me, or is that a Carnage symbiote in your pocket, right? And I think it's a little column A, column B, but it does set up the stakes and sets up the surprise and all that of why Gwen is so upset with Mary Jane being pissed off. It's not great. It's better than the first issue. If you like the first issue, then there's no reason you won't like this. I was not that down with the first issue, but actually I like this a bit more, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it continues, and hopefully it keeps ramping up. Speaking of King in Black, which we have a lot of King in Black stuff, and I have not been that impressed with the tie-ins and all of that going down. So we have King in Black, Black Knight #1, written by Cy Spurrier, art by Jesus Sayas. Everybody loves that Cy Spurrier. It seems that Cy Spurrier, in any book that he does, he really wants to really press the issue that he is British. And so with Black Knight being British as well, you get heavy old English talk as, Black Knight's going through the deal. And the big thing of this is that the ebony blade of Black Knight, it ends up being able to hurt Null. That's the big thing going out of this. But it made me laugh a little because Black Knight as a character does not sell well as a solo series. We've had a couple solo series that have failed in the recent past. I think the last one was Frank Thierry doing it. And so when you get a King in Black tie-in here, you would think, okay, let's get some guest stars to ramp it up. And they get the guest stars of Arrow and Swordmaster, 2 other books that didn't sell. So that's a crazy deal. It's okay. I didn't love it. I really didn't. It was a chore to read at times. I thought it looked pretty good. But overall, I pretty much give this a thumbs down. It was probably one of my least favorite issues of the week. Continuing in the King in Black tip is Venom #33, written by Donny Cates with art by Iban Coelho. And the Venom tie-ins to King in Black should matter. They should be the bigger of all of the tie-ins, obviously. And this one does have some big moments. It does. Now, you start off kind of seeing scenes that you've already seen. You end up having Spider-Man talking to Dylan saying, hey, you don't really have to go out there and fight, which we've already seen him go out and fight. We've already seen him go out and save Cap, all that, but we're seeing it through like a director's cut, a different angle. And so then you go into the hive mind with Eddie and Rex and Flash Thompson, and that's where I liked it. This issue picks up then, and you get some big things. Yes, there's going to be some wonkiness of, how do you know that is what we have to do, Eddie? I don't know. I just do. That leads them into what is a bigger, important part of the hive mind. And then you end up Flash Thompson doing some things. You get some real nice dialogue between Eddie and Flash. I want Flash to continue in the Venom run after Kate's is done. At one point, it even felt like they were leading to having Flash's codex going into the other symbiote of Eddie and possibly having that. Never came about. That was something very quick, but I really wanted to see that. I like their interaction here. And by the end, you get a little bit of hope about how they are going to take the fight to Null, while we also end with a cliffhanger that's very familiar. If you're reading the King in Black deal, Eddie can't catch a break, so you'll have to see what that is. The next book is my book of the week. Next book is Strange Academy, number 8, written by Scotty Young with art by Humberto Ramos. And I was getting a little down on Strange Academy. I loved it when it first came out, and I love the characters. I've always loved the characters. But I wanted to see more classroom antics. I wanted to see things where, oh my God, that person's better than that. I mean, it is a Harry Potter in the Marvel Universe. There's no doubt about it. But some of the great parts of Harry Potter was seeing them in the classroom, trying to work out, learning the magic, seeing who's good at what and how and why. So I wanted more of that. Now, last issue, we end up having Doyle resurrected by Emily. This kind of steps up the game here. And in this issue, that continues where they're trying to figure out if Doyle's okay coming back from the dead. Emily ends up thinking she's in trouble at one point, has a great interaction with Doctor Strange, but then also ends up talking to some strange thing down in a dungeon. We don't know what it is yet. We'll have to see. I have a guess, but I'm not even going to give you that. But while that's going on, you want to have some fun. You have a field trip in space with the rest of the class that are out in space with Rocket Raccoon and Groot trying to get a talisman of sorts. They end up getting in a lot of trouble. And by the end, there's just a funny cliffhanger ending that just makes you smile and makes you glad you read the book. And I really enjoyed it. And I think if this is something you're not reading, I think that you should 100%, because, yeah, it was my favorite issue of the week. Going next should be a huge issue. We have Avengers number 42, written by Jason Aaron, art by Luco Maresca. Keep saying it wrong, where we're going to continue the Enter the Phoenix tournament. I have been critical of the Avengers run of Jason Aaron because we rarely get the Avengers together doing anything. That continues here. And where I think that I've seen a lot of people agree with me here is that you have a tournament with everybody getting the Phoenix Force. It's all in your face and should be exciting. And I was pretty bored going through this, especially because we're never really seeing the endings of fights. We're not seeing, and then even in this, the rules kind of change, makes it that, that Phoenix Force, she can end up picking anybody. So it doesn't even feel right or good. Some of the fights you get, Namor and Echo, Cap versus Shang-Chi, Jane Foster versus She-Hulk, these all go on. Then by the end, you get some big moments, especially something going on not inside the tournament, but something outside of it that pretty much changes a character's mythos in a huge way. That should be a wow moment. I rolled my eyes. But when I saw it, I rolled my eyes, and I have not seen much talk about it at all, when you would figure it should be a huge thing. And I think Jason Aaron's writing it going, oh my God, I'm going to blow the minds of people. And the only thing I saw of people like really still screwing around with this character, but you'll have to read that to find out what I'm talking about. Remember, no spoilers. Next is Avengers Mech Strike number 1, written by Jed McKay, art by Carlos Magno. And this is okay. it doesn't feel like it's really anything that big, except maybe that you have a friend that likes the Avengers movies, likes the Marvel movies, and you want to get them in the comics. You might be able to slip them this and say, check it out. It feels like a giant summer action movie. It feels like a Michael Bay type movie where you're just going to get a bunch of things thrown at you. The big problem is, you see on the cover there's Avengers in Mecha. You don't get that till the end, but in the meantime, they end up fighting this biotechnical kaiju. Like I said, everything's big, but it doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel, like something. It's not even that much fun, actually, for what the description is and what it should be. I mean, a giant kaiju being fought by Mecha Avengers, that's what it should be, and it's going to turn out to be, I'm sure. But this first issue, it kind of dragged a little and wasn't anything that I was that excited about. Now, the last issue, a lot of things going on with this one. Immortal Hulk number 43, written by Al Ewing, art by Joe Bennett. Here's the thing. There is a lot of talk. There is what appears to be some anti-Semitic imagery in this. And if it is the case, if Joe Bennett did it on purpose, then I'm telling you, nobody should buy this. If you are an Immortal Hulk fan and Joe Bennett continues on the book, I would say nonsense, stop. But with that, the issue itself is just a setup issue. You end up seeing the idea of how the Hulk gets money. It's through Joe Fixit. He ends up doing some slimy stuff, but the Hulk needs money, so he gets it. And then in the meantime, you start up the fight with the UFOs, which I thought this whole issue was going to be about, especially them on the cover, but it kind of ends at the end. There's not much going on, but that's the Immortal Hulk run, Al Ewing. A lot of the times you'll get these issues. It's still a good issue. It still has good dialogue. It still has some things that, like, oh man, that's pretty cool. But it is one of those kind of down issues getting set for the last bunch. This ends at 50. Now, again, there's some pretty hateful looking things in this that really rubbed me the wrong way when I wasn't even, I'm not a guy who pays that much attention. I ended up reading it. I ended up doing our regular podcast on it. And then when it was brought to my attention, I said, oh my God, that is bad. And just as an aside, Joe Bennett has been kind of a hateful guy in the past as well. There's two other instances, one being pretty transphobic, that shows that this guy may not deserve the benefit of the doubt overall, but we'll see how that all pans out. Maybe we'll have a video on that, but that is it for now. Remember, Strange Academy, my book of the week, and that doesn't have any problems. That's a nice book that you could, it's all ages too. That's what's best. It's one of those books that anybody can enjoy, but it's not dumbed down for anybody or any sort of deal. So I really, really like it. I think that you should check that out and check out all the books and let me know what you think down in the comments below. But let me know all of that. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you like this, like the video, all that stuff that people say at the beginning and ends of the videos. And then check out our links. Check out our Weird Science DC Comics podcast, Weird Science Marvel Comics podcast, all the stuff, websites and all. So thanks, everybody, and I will talk to you later.